Hi everyone, my name is Bianca from Moon Rising Astrology, and in this video I will be talking about the upcoming full moon in Leo, and this will be happening on February 1st. So we'll be starting off the month February with a full moon in Leo, and it will be at 13 degrees. So if you've got Leo placements or Aquarius, Scorpio, or Taurus placements around that 13 degrees, this will be intensely felt by you, this full moon. Okay, so let me share what the full moon actually looks like when we look at the chart of that moment. Okay, so here it is. And as you can see, with a full moon, the sun is on this side, and then on the other side, it's an opposition. We've got the moon in Leo. So a full moon is about restoring balance. It's a turning point. It can be about things coming to fruition. It's a culmination because it's the culmination of a lunar cycle. So it can be about some things that may need to end in the house of Leo in your chart. And yeah, it can be about a realization moment in terms of your Leo house. And so, why I wanted to show you this chart is because this is not a normal full moon. Because usually I just look at the traits of a Leo and how that could play out in your chart. But here we've got a big ass stellium in Aquarius. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 planets there. So the house of Aquarius in your chart is calling you. It's being highlighted. You're being called towards it. So where are we being pulled towards more? Is it that lonely Leo moon up here opposing all these planets in Aquarius? And if we look at the ruler of this new moon, it is actually the sun, because Leo is ruled by the sun, and the sun is in Aquarius, along with all these other planets in Aquarius. There is a big call for freedom in your Aquarius house at the moment, a big call to take action there. You want your mental clarity there. There's something you like to do, you want to do there. The sun is shining a light on it. Mars is putting our action toward it, and then Pluto wants us to take control, take back our power in that area of our life. But it does need to take us toward that full moon in Leo. We need to look at our Leo house too, because what brings us emotional fulfillment in this house in terms of Leo? So if we look at what a Leo moon is all about, a Leo moon wants to shine. It wants to feel appreciated, for what it does, and it loves compliments. So if you've been feeling neglected in this part of your chart, you can't shine in this part of your chart because this needs to be balanced out. So this full moon is asking us, where have I been neglecting myself? Where haven't I feel appreciated enough? And where can I maybe stand up for myself, put myself first more often, and then not at the expense of others, but yeah, just for you, to make sure that you feel appreciated and you feel like you can express yourself fully. Because a Leo moon would love to take space, would love to express themselves and their emotions openly. And yeah, so feel like what's interesting too, that this full moon is being ruled by the sun, and the sun is actually in detriment in Aquarius. So here in the Netherlands, it's the middle of winter. And so having a sun in detriment in the middle of winter makes sense, because it can shine at its brightest. And so we need to be reminded of how we need to shine again in that area of our life. And I think this is definitely about the balance of shining in both these houses. So we need to feel appreciated in both these houses so we can take space yeah, to do what we want to do, to express ourselves freely so that we don't feel neglected or unappreciated, or maybe even ignored or overlooked. And yeah, I feel like this is a nice reminder to have a full moon in the middle of winter, to ask us where do you want to take up space again, right? And yeah, with all these planets in Aquarius asking us for authenticity and to create freedom in this area of our life, but we need to feel appreciated in the other area, on the other side. So yeah, I think it's a big realization moment, and it's also the full moon that happens 2 weeks before eclipse season. So we may already feel the build up of eclipse season as well. And the eclipse will be happening on February 17th, and this will be an Aquarius eclipse, so a new moon eclipse. So I feel like this is kind of pointing us to yeah, where we need to restore balance first so that we are able to take the upcoming shifts that will be happening in Aquarius and in Leo, because 6 months later there will be an eclipse in Leo, so this almost feels like this will be starting off the themes of the upcoming eclipses. Okay, so we need to make sure that you understand what this will mean for you personally. So let's take a look at your rising signs. So let's start with Aries risings. So for Aries risings, this full moon takes place in your fifth house. So there seems to be a turning point or a moment of realization happening in terms of what you like to do for fun. Leisure time, it can be about children, self-expression, or maybe even romantic dates, romantic interests. And then on the other hand, we've got that Aquarius stellium in your 11th house, which is the house of social circles, group projects, working on your hopes and dreams, your aspirations. So you may feel a strong push to work on your goals or expand your social circle, but you might also feel like you've been neglecting the fun things in life, like romance or, creative joy. So this full moon is reminding you to take up space in your fifth house and express yourself maybe more playfully, more passionately, because your joy is allowed to be a priority too. So for Taurus risings, this full moon is happening in your fourth house, which is the house of family, home life, emotional safety, and roots. So the Aquarius stellium is in your 10th house, on the opposite house, which is career, reputation, and public goals. So you may feel a strong push to move forward in your career or your public life, your reputation, but you may also feel like you've been maybe overgiving at home, or maybe not receiving enough support or appreciation in that sense. So this full moon is reminding you that you don't need to be scared to take up space in your own home, in your um, family life, home dynamic, and just ask for what you need. And it's about reclaiming your emotional energy, because if you are over giving in terms of your home and family life, you can't work on your dreams that are asking for your presence in the 10th house. So for Gemini rising, this full moon is happening in your third house. And so there is a turning point or a moment of realization happening in the house of communication, your way of thinking and learning, expressing yourself. And so on the other side, we have the ninth house where your Aquarius stellium, where that Aquarius stellium is taking place, which is about higher learning, your beliefs, and what makes your life meaningful. So you may feel, so you may feel a strong push to make your life more meaningful, or maybe you want to shift your beliefs. But you might also feel overlooked or maybe unheard, kind of like your thoughts and ideas are being heard. So this Leo moon is actually reminding you that you don't need to be scared to take up space, and that you don't have to be scared to, voice your opinion and maybe even express yourself in a deeper, more meaningful way, because your ideas are allowed to be heard too. And maybe you may even be called to learn something new, but then because it's the ninth house that is calling you, it can be something that truly expands your mind, but also your heart, because the full moon in Leo is all about taking decisions from the heart. So then for Cancer risings, this full moon is happening in your second house. So there is a turning point or moment of realization happening in the house that is about self-worth, values, money, and income. And, it's about what you feel you deserve. And then on the other hand, we've got that Aquarius stellium in your eighth house, which is about shared resources. So the second house is about what you own, and the eighth house is about what you own together. And this can be with business partners or, usually some romantic partner in your life. And the eighth house is about all the things we can't control in life. So it can be about fear, some deep psychological sides of ourselves. So you may feel a strong push to maybe transform your life through maybe deeper connections or shared support, maybe shared financial support. But you might also feel like you maybe giving too much and maybe not receiving enough. And this can be in terms of self-worth, but also in terms of money, of course. So this full moon is reminding you that you don't have to be scared to take up space in terms of, your self-worth and your income. Yeah, this can be as easy as you are working for someone and you feel like you are not getting paid enough, but you may be scared to say this to your boss, And so, yeah, this can be a moment where you may not be scared to, to voice that. Yeah, and also this is a moment if you feel like you could use some more support in terms of finances. This is also the time to not be afraid to ask for that support. And yeah, just because you know that your worth is not measured by what you give to others and maybe what you receive in terms of income. So yeah, it's really about asking for support and allowing yourself to receive. Okay, so I'm really excited for Leo risings. And this is because this is a big year for you. Not only because this full moon is happening in your first house, which is all about you. So the intro is all about you. But also because Jupiter will be entering Leo this year. But yeah, this will be something I will be talking about, of course, as well in a separate video. But just to remind you that this is your year to shine, but also your year to transform and maybe even reinvent yourself. And I feel like this is kind of the start of this. And this is like a normal full moon in Leo, but there will be an eclipse happening in Aquarius on February 17th, and then also another eclipse in August, which will be a new moon eclipse in Leo. So lots of new things happening and shifting for you this year. So with the full moon in Leo, yeah, this is all about courage, taking up space. And this is about your identity, your confidence, and how you show up in the world. But your Aquarius stellium is on the other side in the seventh house, which is, of course, the house of others, partnerships, collaborations, and relationships can be romantic relationships as well. So You may feel a strong push to redefine yourself or step into a new version of you. But you might also feel like maybe you've been shrinking yourself to keep the peace in relationships. So, what this full moon is reminding you of is that you don't need to be scared to take up space. And yeah, this is the time to express yourself boldly and confidently because you are allowed to shine and you are allowed to be seen. And I also feel like with Pluto in your seventh house, and Pluto can be about control, it can also be about jealousy. I feel like this is the year that this may be highlighted as well, that you don't get controlled by others, or yeah, really that you don't have to shrink yourself in order to shine and be yourself. Yeah, with that full moon in Leo, it's a reminder to not neglect yourself. So yeah, I hope this is a really nice, powerful full moon for you. So for Virgo risings, this full moon is happening in your 12th house. So there will be a turning point or a moment of realization in terms of maybe how you are dealing with your mental health. If you are taking enough time to rest, if you are just taking enough time for yourself, and self-care. Because on the other hand, we've got that Aquarius stellium in your sixth house, which is the house of labor, work, daily routine. This is about your health, your physical health, and also daily responsibilities. So there may be a strong push to improve your routine or maybe your work life, but you might also feel like you may have been overworking and maybe even neglecting your emotional well-being. So what this full moon is reminding you is that you don't have to be scared to take up space in terms of resting, taking time for yourself, because it matters. If you're not resting enough, you can't do all the hard work you want to do, in terms of that sixth house calling you, and you deserve to slow down too. So this is really a reminder to slow down sometimes and maybe set up a new self-care routine. This is really about treating yourself and yeah, reminding yourself that you need to take some time to rest as well. And maybe just do the things you really like to do and not only think about working hard. Okay, so then on to Libra rising. This full moon is happening in your 11th house. So there may be a turning point or moment of realization in terms of friendships, community, groups, group projects, or your social circles. And then the Aquarius stellium is in your fifth house, which is the house of creativity, pleasure, leisure time, everything you like to do for fun. It can also be about romantic interests. So you may have been wrapped up in romance, creativity, maybe a love interest. Maybe you had to take a lot of care for your children, while neglecting maybe your friends or long-term goals or just your social life in general. So what this full moon in Leo reminds you of is that maybe it's time to reconnect with your friends, with your people, and yeah, and maybe with your bigger vision, your future plans. And maybe you've been neglecting this, working on your hopes and dreams just because a lot of you was asked in the terms of those fifth house themes, just because Pluto is there as well. And this can be about control issues as well in terms of maybe love interests or maybe in terms of children too. So for Scorpio risings, this full moon is happening in your 10th house. So there may be a turning point or moment of realization happening in terms of career, public image, and life direction. So the Aquarius stellium is in your fourth house, which is on the other side of the 10th house. So the fourth house is about your home, your family life, and also your emotional security, your roots. So you may feel a strong push to move forward in your career or your public life, your reputation, but you might also feel like your home, your family life is demanding a lot of your attention. And of course, this is the classic work-life um, balance. And yeah, this is always, I feel like this is always a thing in everyone's life. And so this is pointing you towards this, that there needs to be restoration of balance. The balance needs to be restored in those two houses, because you may feel with the full moon in your 10th house that you may have been neglecting working on your long-term goals, your career, and maybe your public image. But you need to be supported in your home and family life, and you need to feel emotionally secure as well to be able to work on your goals. And so what I also would like to mention for Scorpio risings, just because this is the classic work-life balance that needs to be restored, just because Scorpio holds a lot of their, or keeps a lot of their emotions for themselves. And I don't think they ask for help very often. So I feel like this is a reminder for you that you can't hold it all together silently. And so I think this is what the full moon in Leo will remind you of, that you feel the courage to express yourself in, that you need support in both areas of your lives to make it work. Okay, so for Sagittarius, this full moon is happening in your ninth house. And so there is a turning point or a moment of realization happening in terms of your beliefs, your what makes your life meaningful. And this is textbook Sagittarius, because Sagittarius is always looking for something that is meaningful in their life and always asking the bigger question. So now with a stellium in your third house, because Aquarius is your third house, this is all about communication and your mindset. So in some ways, you may feel a strong push to expand your worldview or change your beliefs, or seek for meaning in your life. But maybe you've also been feeling mentally overwhelmed or overloaded, or maybe you've been feeling stuck in daily life, in repetitive thinking. Yeah, so I feel like this full moon is a reminder to never stop, seek meaning and joy just in your daily life and in your close environment, because you can't always be out and about and do your long distance traveling. Sometimes you're just at home, you're in your close environment, and this may be asking a lot of you. And yeah, so the trick is to find meaning in those times as well. So for Capricorn risings, this full moon is happening in your eighth house. So there may be a turning point or a moment of realization in terms of your shared resources. And, this is also the house that is about the things we can't control in life. So this can be about deep-seated fears or your deeper psychological side. And so on the other side, we've got the second house, really the material house. That Aquarius stellium is placed there. So this is about your self-worth, your financial situation, your income, money, security. So you may feel a strong push to transform your finances or maybe even your sense of value and self-worth. But you may also feel like you've been controlling too much, and maybe not allowing yourself to be vulnerable. So I feel like this full moon is reminding you of you are allowed to be supported as well. And this can be in terms of your self-worth and your financial situation as well. So I feel like there may be a transformation happening in terms of finances, and this can be um, happening in terms of shared finances, and maybe you feel like you have to carry a lot financially at this moment. And this can be because there may be a change in terms of your maybe a relationship with a business partner or with your romantic partnership. So maybe you feel like you have to hold a lot of responsibilities in terms of your financial status. And because the eighth house can also be about deep-seated fears and the things you can control in life. Maybe you feel like things are shifting in terms of how you want to earn money or how you look at finances and income. So I feel like a big shift is happening in terms of this. And the full moon in Leo is reminding you that you don't have to carry everything on your own and that it is okay, to be a bit vulnerable when it comes to finances. Maybe that your worth is not tied to your financial income, and what you do for others. So yeah, I feel like this is a moment to open up about that to maybe a business partner or even a romantic partner, just whatever comes up for you. So for Aquarius risings, this full moon is happening in your seventh house, which is the house of others. The house of partnerships can be about romantic relationships or just relationships in general, and collaborations. So the Aquarius stellium is in your first house, which is about identity and how you show up in the world. So this is a big one for you. And also because the eclipses will be taking place in your first and your seventh house this year. So this is definitely, with Pluto in your first house, a time that you want to take control over the situation, because you may feel a strong push to maybe redefine who you are, but you may also feel like your relationships maybe aren't supporting your growth. So there needs to be, a balance needs to be restored in terms of how you want to show up into the world, but you don't want to um, maybe not neglect your relationships, but you feel like the relationships need to be supporting your growth at this time. So this really is a reminder that you don't have to be scared to take up space in your relationships, and you are still allowed to choose yourself. Your individuality and freedom is very important for you at this time, but also, don't neglect your relationships um, as well. So it's really a moment of balancing how you want to show up in this world and how you are, maybe how you are looking at relationships. Okay, so for Pisces risings, this full moon is happening in your sixth house. So there is a realization moment, a turning point happening in your house of health, your physical health, your daily routine, in maybe in terms of labor, hard work, and being of service to others. So on the other side, in the 12th house, we've got that Aquarius stellium, which is about subconscious patterns. It's about resting. It's about taking time for yourself to work on your mental health. So, you may feel a strong push to maybe improve your daily life, but you might also feel like you've maybe been too much of service, over serving or not taking care of your own needs. So this full moon is reminding you that you deserve to rest and that you deserve to, just put more joy into your daily life. And so this is a really nice moment to think of, um, how much am I taking care of myself? Have I been neglecting myself because I'm doing so much for other people at this time? And, do I maybe need to chill out more? So, because this really is about a restoration of balancing mental health and health, putting in the work, but also resting, taking time for yourself. So, this is like the best time to think about, have I been meeting my own needs? Have I been caring for myself enough? Or do I maybe need to look into a new healthcare routine, a new self-care routine? Because this is a really nice time to start one if you've maybe been neglecting yourself and maybe doing too much for others. So that was it for all 12 rising signs. So this full moon is really pointing us to what is going to be shifting the coming year, just because the nodes will be changing to Aquarius and Leo. So the eclipses will be happening there as well, and Jupiter will be entering Leo this year. So lots of big things will be shifting and happening in our Leo house and Aquarius house. So I feel like this is kind of the start of it. Like we kind of get a sneak peek to what's, what will be waiting for us the coming year. So I hope this was helpful. And yeah, thank you so much for all your support. And hopefully I'll see you in the next video. Bye bye.